Republicans in the Tennessee House of Representatives have introduced resolutions to expel 3 Democrats for what they are calling disorderly behavior. Those 3 Democrats approached the House podium in between bills last Thursday. They chanted with protesters in the House chamber gallery, calling for action on gun violence after 6 people were killed in a Nashville school shooting just days earlier. Because the lawmakers were not recognized to speak at the time, Republicans say they broke chamber rules. The Tennessee House Speaker went as far as comparing their actions to the January 6th.
Wait. I don't see any cops being beaten up by Trump supporters.
Do they have zip ties?
I don't see anybody defecating, any Trump supporters.
I don't think they did that.
Defecating on the floor.
I'm checking my facts here.
I don't see people running around screaming, looking for Nancy Pelosi or saying they're going to hang Mike Pence.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate line.
I don't understand that because I wonder, did the Tennessee Speaker, did he ever criticize Donald Trump for January 6th? That'd be interesting to see.
All right.
Or is it just more Republican hypocrisy?
They've already been removed from their committee assignments. The final vote on whether to expel them is set for later today. Some historic context on this controversial vote. Only 2 members of the Tennessee House have been removed from office since the Civil War. But they're trying to remove them.
One of 3 Tennessee lawmakers facing expulsion, Representative Justin Pearson. Representative, thank you so much for being with us. It seems you're being possibly expelled from an elected position because you practice your free speech rights and maybe have broken some procedural rules in Tennessee. How unprecedented is this?
Yes, this is an unprecedented and historical moment in Tennessee and American history because myself, Representative Johnson, and Representative Jones went to the well of the House in a peaceful protest to listen to the people, the thousands of children and teenagers who came to our state capitol and demanded that we do something about gun reform, that we do something about gun violence and the epidemic that is plaguing our communities. Instead of spending many hours and time and energy on helping to solve the problem that led to the shooting in Nashville, but has led to many shootings in our own communities of Memphis and Shelby County, instead of working on just legislation that actually helps to heal the pain that many children and parents and grandparents have come to our Capitol to talk with us about, the response has been to expel members who are exercising their First Amendment rights, to make sure that the people who are showing up, the families and the communities, our constituents in the galleries, were heard. We were ignored on the House floor during a period called Welcoming Honoring, where we would have welcomed those who came to protest peacefully, which was every single person who was there. And there was over 5,000 people on that Thursday. But instead, the conversation was cut short by the speaker who called these children insurrectionists, who called parents who were mourning and grieving insurrectionists. The Speaker, Cameron Sexton, who was comparing the events of January 6th, where over 5 people were killed, at least 5 people were killed, where dozens of police officers and law enforcement officers were beaten by people with pepper spray and batons. In that type of environment, he's comparing peaceful protesters of mostly children and teenagers who are saying, Tennessee state lawmakers, it's time for you to do something. It's time for you to act. And we need to act on the epidemic of gun violence, and we need to do it much sooner rather than later.
It's such a grotesque comparison. Obviously, those kids coming out of their schools on that day looking for legislation, legal passage of legislation of gun laws versus the lie that brought people to violence in the Capitol on January 6th. Representative, is it true that you already have lost ID access to the Capitol? Like you can't swipe in the morning, that you've been expelled, at least from some committees? And then a third part for you, are you worried that you actually might be expelled altogether from the House of Representatives there?
Yes, the Speaker and the Republican Party leadership of Tennessee has expelled all of my colleagues off of committees and has refused to assign me a committee since our general election that we won in District 86. And the reality is this body that is perpetuating injustice, that is silencing the voices of people who are demanding action, people in our community of Memphis and Shelby County who are saying we need to do something about gun reform. We need to do something to end the gun violence epidemic. Passing laws like permitless carry are not helpful. Passing laws like lowering the restrictions for being able to carry, lowering the age restriction to carry a gun is not helpful. Arming teachers and turning our schools into prisons and fortresses is not helpful. People in our district and across the state in East and Middle and West Tennessee are saying those aren't real solutions and we need to see better solutions. But the folks who are putting forward those solutions, who are not truly listening to those who are coming to the Capitol pleading and crying and screaming that we do something, folks like the mother of my classmate who was murdered by gun violence, Larry Thorne, earlier this year, those folks aren't being listened to. And so I expect today when a vote is taken about expelling myself and Representative Johnson and Representative Jones, this body and this Republican majority legislature will expel us, not for committing an actual crime, as the last two folks who have been expelled have done, but for breaking a House decorum rule.
That's unbelievable. Tennessee State Representative Justin Peterson.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being Pearson. Thank you so much, Representative. Yeah, exactly.
We got it.
And thank you so much for being here. And good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck, Mika. It's crazy that, first of all, like Willie said, it's grotesque that they would compare high school kids coming to ask for legislation, for gun safety legislation, so they could go to school and learn.
Yeah.
And be safer. It's grotesque that the speaker in Tennessee would compare that to a riot where people have been sent to jail for beating the hell out of cops with American flags, for defecating in the people's house, for having a full-blown right to overturn an election. And they're comparing high school students
who just don't want to die at school. And Jen Palmieri, this is where the country is.
Yeah, the country
for the most part.
These
it's not
kids.
like this is the decorum that was broken, and I think it's fair to say decorum was broken inside the State House. It's not like it was broken for a white nationalist parade. They are with these kids who are getting killed at school.
And Jen, I served in a legislative body. You don't expel people because they break decorum. They gavel you down and tell you to stop. And if you don't, you're taken from the floor by the sergeant at arms. That's it.
There's so much wrapped up here about the state of democracy in this, in this one story. First of all, you see people are at a breaking point. You saw it in 2018, 5 years ago now with Parkland, and that's where March for Our Lives started, the kids that rose up there in protest. Last month we saw it in Michigan. Michigan State had a school shooting. Michigan State students rallied behind in the Capitol in Michigan. They were actually able to pass gun safety laws in response to that. And now you see it in Tennessee, which is a pretty conservative state, that people are just students, parents, all of us are just at a breaking point. And then inside the chamber, suppressing democracy again. Republicans trying to thwart democracy by removing 3 democratically elected representatives, who, by the way, represent some of Tennessee's biggest cities. And, you know, they don't want this. Of course, this is what they want us to talk about. They want us to talk about the process as opposed to putting pressure on them to pass something that would respond to the school shootings. But you see, like, these kids are not going away. Like, Tennessee is reacting. This is a conservative place, but you see country music singers, a lot of people speaking out to demand action. It's going to keep happening everywhere.
And, you know, guys, the News Channel 5 in Nashville pointed out to Speaker Sexton, who's talking about expelling these 3 members, saying if you throw them out of office, there's going to be about 200,000 people in Tennessee without representation. You're overturning the vote effectively in this case. And he said, quote, well, their actions made that happen, saying maybe they just won't have representatives if they behave like this.
So what they don't understand is that these kids aren't protesting the color of their school uniforms.
Right.
They're scared for their lives. So this isn't every day they go to school. Across the country, children go to school scared for their lives. Parents send their kids to school scared their kids won't come back. So it's not like this issue is going away. It's, again, like Republicans and Trump. They don't see what's coming down the pike.
Well, the thing
a mass shooting is coming to a town near you.
I mean,
no matter where you are.
Number one cause of death for children in the United States is guns. And that's something that, yes, whether you're a Republican, representing a district in Tennessee or a Democrat representing a seat in Tennessee. You have kids who are worried when they go to school.
Yeah.
So I think they do understand it, which makes this move even more confounding. But come.